Imagine how much that is for a second. That's a million million, 1,000 billion, a 1 followed by 12 zeros. And I think we can all agree that that's a lot of money. And according to the Huffington Post, on March 9th of 2012, that's how much money the U.S. government has spent on the prison system in the past 3 years. And the parole system accounts for a large percentage of this cost. I've become aware of this problem because my grandfather used to work as a parole officer. After doing some research over the last 3 weeks, I've concluded that the parole system and re-entry in the United States is dysfunctional. First, I'll examine the cost of the parole system. Then, I'll look at the basic rights that the parole system takes away from parolees. And finally, I'll look at how the parole system accounts for overcrowding in the United States prisons. So, the parole system is dysfunctional because it costs too much. In an article in the American Journal of Sociology in May 2010, stated that the United States has the highest incarceration rate of any modern country in the world. And 1/3 of prisoners in the United States are incarcerated because of parole violations. And another 5 million people in the United States are on parole currently. The U.S. Bureau of Justice Statistics from 2009 stated that it cost $23,876 per year to keep one prisoner in prison. That means that the United States government is spending $8 billion a year to keep those in prison who are there because of parole violations. This massive cost to the United States government is due because of dysfunction in the parole system. Not only is the current parole system costly, it also takes away basic and necessary human rights from the parolees. In an article in Issues in Science and Technology from the summer of 2008, said that it is almost impossible for parolees to live independently and return to society in a functioning and healthy way. The Spring Science and Business Media from March 20th, 2010 stated that parolees become dependent on the system and it's a hard cycle to break. Parole officers make important decisions for the parolees, including institutionalization, medication, and therapy that the parolees may not want to take part in. According to the Washington Post on March 11th, 2012, the parole officers also are able to search the parolee's house, arrest them without bail for suspected violations, suspend parole hearings or parole until a hearing in front of the board, which can take months, and perform drug tests and curfew. The parole system has become dominated by organizational goals, according to the American Journal of Sociology in May 2010, and parole officers are expected to take on 2 roles, one as a cop and one as a social worker. These 2 roles it is impossible to take on these 2 roles at a time, and this leads to more people going back into prison instead of reintegrating them into society. Finally, the current parole system in the United States is the main contributor to prison overcrowding. The Bureau of Justice Statistics in 2009 stated that 1/3 of prisoners are there because of parole violation, and only 49% of parolees successfully complete parole. Little is done in the United States for drug addiction in parole compared to other countries. And compared to other countries, there's little rehab, therapeutic and counseling programs, career education, and opportunities for job creations, which causes more prisoners, or more people on parole to go back to prison. So I have examined why the prisons or the parole system is dysfunctional. First, because of the major cost, also because of the basic rights that it takes away, and finally, because it leads to overcrowding. Our parole system is dysfunctional, and in the future will lead to more disorder and unrest.